have already some ideas of what to expect well now. So I'll pass it to Griff to kick us off.
On exactly what? Like our
no,
proposals
it's
that we're
about
excited
rocking the
about?
vote, about getting people to
Oh,
vote. Yeah. So I mean, I was proposing that we have this council really exclusively on what are our expectations, what's our target, how many people do we want to vote, and how are we going to get there, and what's realistic, and maybe what's even ambitious.
yeah. Well, I think the most important thing is informed voters. You know, what's really cool is like we don't want people just going up there and voting for their favorite meme or their favorite name. If we do that, all of my proposals will get to the top. No, I'm just kidding. My names suck, but we'll end up with a Marxist flag just because it's funny. We really want the the people to vote that are coming to debates. And I think the most important thing is at the end of every debate, we need to say, hey, go vote a little, and get people voting at the end of the debate, maybe even showing them how to vote at the end of the debate. Because really, we just don't want everyone to vote. It's too complex of an issue. But we're getting all the top token holders to these debates, and we're doing good outreach to get the people to the debates. And then in the debates, maybe we just put some time at the end to show people how to vote. That's what I'd say for rocking the vote. Also, though, we need to get those. Do we have 5 proposals on the forum yet? I still haven't put mine up. I'm close.
I put one up today. So we have
Nice.
one. Gideon put one up yesterday, too.
Nice.
And he credited Mitch. I saw in the praise. He praised Mitch for helping him, encouraging him, and helping him do that. So that was very cool.
Mitch is
3,
the rock the vote
Wonka.
hero.
Mitch is 4, and Zep, you have one up here. Oh, yeah. The ratio matters. Is that that's your final one, Zep? Okay, so we have 5 now. With you, Griff, it'll be 6.
Nugget might put one up too.
I also have one.
Yeah. So we meet the threshold. The vote's closed. I mean, it's not closed today, but now we've moved into the rocket the vote phase officially.
We did it.
You did it, Mitch. You did it. Thank you, man.
Like, we cannot go back into limbo. No.
Vote with your feet.
Cool. So, welcome, Nate and Mitch. And the topic for today is rock the vote. And what are any strategies, issues, concerns, expectations, plans that you want to share to make sure we have a good turnout for the vote? Griff just shared of course, voting within the debates, encouraging people to vote during the debate, which is definitely great. And
I'll pass to Wonka since he's unmuted. What do you think? What can we do to rock the vote?
Yeah, I think like spamming the Twitter would be good. Like maybe making a lot of tweets like in a row and saying like, okay, let's rock the boat. And also I think that maybe, I don't know if it would be good to remove or to clean a little bit the token log repository, because it's like too many proposals and that may be like scary to people, but I don't know if that's like making things too complex. And yeah, I think that telling everyone in our working groups that the vote is up. And I'll pass to Mitch.
Well, I forgot what the question was. Hold on, let me open this. The distractions are real.
So the question is really like, share any strategies, issues, concerns, expectations, plans that we should have, that you have, or we should have for rocking the vote this weekend. And the vote will close Tuesday. And of those will be the final 3 to 5 top few ones that will make it into the runoff. That will be considered for the runoff.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be tight. There's gonna be a lot of proposals that I think are gonna go into the runoff, I think. But as far as blockers, I'd like to see or think of some sort of creative format for the final debate. I think we talked about it a little bit. And then moving into voting from there, you know.
I have some concerns that we'll have enough people in the debates to vote significantly. I mean, it's a lot of us coming to the debates. But so I'd also maybe look at maybe we look at the Hatcher list and each of us pick 5 or 6 people that we want to really be like, hey, do you have any questions? Can I answer any questions for you about these votes?
I think for this phase though, it's like if they don't come to the debates, they'll just pick randomly. We really don't want. I would say this phase is let's rock the debates, you know, and tell people to vote that are at the debates. Because as Wonka said, there's just so many, or maybe was it Zeptimus or Wonka? Someone clearing the, you know, we shouldn't clear, in my opinion, the token log because we said that we were going to keep them up there, so we should stick with that. But like, there's just too many choices. People will just vote by name if they're pushed to vote, if they think they're supposed to vote. And I think for the next phase, it'll be way more digestible. They'll have 4 options. They will be able to participate without engaging in debates because there'll be a voter's pamphlet and digestible information. This is just chaos a little bit, you know? It's like there's 100 proposals. Some of them are being debated, some of them aren't. Where do you find them on token log? I think it's okay that if we have lowish voter turnout, as long as, because in the end it's just curating the top 3 to 5 that will be well digested for the serious vote where we really say get out there and pick the economy, you know. And this is more about like, you know, getting as many token engineers in there to ask really strong questions into like about this stuff and then put their opinion in. I think is more valuable, and if we can get people to come to the debates and be informed and then vote, I think that's better than just having people get out there and click the button. Then it just increases our randomness, you know, threshold on whether or not we get good proposals and a good data to choose the top proposals.
Yeah, one thing I see is that once we have the final votes, then we can no longer change those. So any token engineer that then has a great insight on one of them, that's great, except for this one thing. Well, there's no longer anything we could do. You know, like sort of like, oh, too late. We can't do anything about that. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to pass it, Mitch, or do you want to finish?
I'll pass it on to Edu. Have you gone?
Not yet. Thank you, Mitch. And hello, Sadok. How you doing? So basically, for me, it's from my side. I think it's always been about bringing the community around, even if they cannot vote. I think I don't know if we have abstract from the situation, but I feel that I hope that the debates and the process of, for example, the bigger debate on next week, that could be recorded, because I feel we you have a huge kind of content that could be really nice as an example for future iterations or for anyone who wants to learn about this. But talking about this, the only thing that I thought about was what I proposed in Communitas, which is basically just create a tag of hatchers and keeping them on the loop, which I will do today. The category for the hatchers to sort of, at least tag them on the debates and make them aware that all these things are happening, because at the end they are the ones who can vote. So yeah, and that's it. I will pass it on to Nate.
Yeah, thanks, Edu. So I agree largely with Griff. I think that the debate is probably the most important thing. I think we should do everything that we can to promote the debate because people show up to the debate, then they'll show up to vote, and so at least those people that are going to be in that room. I think having, especially if it's going to be a large debate, that we can educate and explore all the different aspects and concerns people have. I just think, most of our communications and promotion, external communications for individuals, plus the organizational account, should be dedicated to that debate. But that's the only ideas I have for it. So I'll pass it over to Durgadas.
Please remind me what we're doing. I showed up late.
No problem. Welcome, Durgadas. We're talking about this weekend being the weekend to vote for hatchers can vote on the proposals that will go into the runoff, the proposals that will be eligible for the runoff vote. So the shortlist. So we're voting on the shortlist. And thoughts, strategies, issues, concerns, expectations, or plans for getting our community, our hatchers, to vote this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been really good about getting everybody out there. Up to now, I think we just need to just do more of that. And then I think it's also true that maybe we shouldn't over push it, because people might think that this vote is really the final one or something, if we do a major kind of push. Yeah, participatory democracy. It only works if you participate. So, that's the most important thing, right? Participation is the crux of all of it. And I actually feel like that should actually be a part of our overall communication structure in terms of what we communicate tonally with comms, with gravity, with everything, right? This isn't a passive sort of situation, right? I think one of the greatest things about this cultural build is that we have the chance to right many wrongs, right? And one of the problems with centralization and things like this is that it makes you feel like you have no power, and you just internalize that. So the fact that you're being friendly and saying you guys should vote and everything, it's a duty, it's an obligation. Also, it's not just that we love to have you and that we're all friendly and nice and we're trying to include you. It's really important to make sure you understand that just as much as you have to keep your keys and everything now because the bank's not doing all of it, it's the same way with your democracy. You have to care for it, and this is one of the primary ways in which you care for it. So that's all I would say, just from a tonal standpoint.
Cool, helpful. I can pass it to Chewy.
Yeah, thank you, Tam. I think I share Juanca's concern about like cleaning up the token log. However, I mean, I'm still like myself using some of the old versions of some proposals to get some ideas. So maybe maybe it could be up to people that submit proposals. They could take the vote tag out. This way, the old proposals can be available for anyone to check them, but the token log interface would be a little bit cleaner because, it's just a concern that I have, that people that are like out of the loop will go inside the tool that we use for voting, and they won't really get a lot of what's going on. So I would suggest cleaning it up a little bit, and yeah, maybe this way can it won't come off as something like so intimidating or something that people have been like out of the loop for. Yeah, I guess those are my 2 cents. I'll pass it back to you, Tom.
What is our token log link? Token log/commons build.
Oh, inside the GitHub repo, I think there is a tag that says vote, and yeah, like if you click on any of these proposals,
It's the only thing is it's a little different than last time. Basically, you have to be an admin to change to edit any of any admin can edit any of the proposals. I saw Wonka edited his proposal to add his meme at the top above the other meme. You cheater.
Did you do that for me?
Just kidding. But so admins can, anyone who owns is an owner in the commons build can, but because we have a bot submitting the proposals, that kind of creates an unfair advantage, you know?
But where's the voting link? I'm sorry, that's what I was asking.
Commons build / commons config - proposals.
I pasted it in Stewards.
Okay, thanks. Let me just see if I can find it. Comments. Oh, there it is. No, that's not it. Okay, I got it. Go ahead, Seth. You were saying? Welcome, Lauren.
Hey guys.
So the topic today is rocking the vote, strategies, issues, concerns, expectations, or plans for the Commons configuration upgrade proposals, which happens this weekend and closes on Tuesday.
I heard something in one of the Param parties that we should ignore the numbers because I think Griff said we should ignore the numbers because these are just, these are just largely tests. I do wonder how we're gonna, if we're sending people to token log, how do we make it so that it doesn't just look like another popularity contest to them?
Yeah, I don't know about ignoring the numbers, but definitely I think that the strategy should be, the people who are proposing parameters need to say, this is how you vote for mine, right? And we need to have some conviction and start curating this a little bit better. And proposals that we like, we can start rocking the vote and starting to curate our favorite proposals to the top. And I think that's the way to go.
So maybe I misunderstood then.
What I think that that got that message is that as before there were time for building new proposals, it wasn't like ideal to spend all your voting power and only to like spend a little bit of voting to highlight them. But now that we are rocking the boat, you can actually spend all your voting power because like the proposals that are there will be mostly the ones that will be participating in the decision.
I would say you have free reign to spend like maybe 20% of your voting power right now. Try not to spend more than that until like the weekend. And then even then only spend like 50% of your voting power and try to hold off if you're engaged, leave that last 50% for Tuesday. So you can really have the most information that you can to make the vote. But I think we got to start voting to make it easier for people to see the proposals that are really being promoted.
I mean, maybe the ones that we're advocating for, we throw some tokens to, just so those are the ones that come to the top of the list. So when you see the list, it's the same ones that are in the forum or on the top of the token log. I have a bit of a contrarian opinion about the voting for the larger community. I just know there's so many people that aren't able to make it to the debates, but still have well-informed, thoughts and decisions. Angela comes to mind, and when I mentioned the vote this weekend to her, she's like, "What? Tell me what to do!" Like, and it's like, well, read the forum and choose one of the 5 that are on the forum now. It's sort of like the call to action there. But I think what we have on the forum should be something, the way that they were written, should be enough for someone to read it and understand what the general differences are about those, even though we don't have something that's more comparative, transversely. Yeah, I do.
Can we make a thread on Twitter with all proposals and sort of keep this gamification process of, hey, this proposal got updated on this sense? So we have 5 threads or 6 threads on Twitter that we can sort of send to hatchers or to people who want to know on the go just a brief summary of the proposal. So we don't sort of sometimes the forum is too much, but if you send them a thread on Twitter, people will like read it immediately, retweet it, and we could have a nice momentum on that.
I like that idea. I like that idea of like linking to exactly, like on the voting page, like link to exactly the proposal. Or actually, no, because it goes to the GitHub. So never mind that. But linking to the forum which describes it. Yeah, there's something interesting in that. I don't know, Chewy, how do you feel about a Twitter thread of the proposals that are being advocated for?
Yeah, for sure. I'll add it to the agenda for working on that in Monday's thing.
But Tuesday the vote closes.
I'm sorry, what was that, Tam?
The vote closes on Tuesday, so Monday would be too late.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Sorry. I'll reach out to Zero to see if he has some free time during the day today, and we'll jump on that to have it published by today. I was gonna ask if Nate, you did a great job on the article that you uploaded. Are you gonna be doing any updates on that one?
In particular, that article? No, that was just kind of a dive into like an example of just exploring the different modules for people. What we were going to work on is the pamphlet, the voting pamphlet for the TEC. I know that Ben's was showed interest in actually collaborating on that. So, I just think that we need to really filter down to how many proposals that we want to do, and then figure out how to best educate the community about those proposals. I'm not exactly sure the method for that though, because and a part of me just wants to blast token log with as much information. Like, I don't know if we can put information on token log, but like right there when they vote, but I don't know if that's possible.
Okay.
It's probably not possible right now. So yeah, that article is awesome, but it's also not
With accurate
doesn't
proposals.
compare the current ones. Yeah. What?
Yeah, with like the updated proposals. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
maybe
can do that if you'd like. It's not a problem. I can just edit it to different proposals if somebody else wants to give me their pitch for their proposals.
So right now we have these on the forum, and Griff is going to share one more. So it's this one, one that I shared, one that Zeptimus shared. He's abandoning the casino for reserve ratio matters, which is very cool. One that Gideon shared. This one that Wonka shared, and Mitch's. So those are the 5.
And so, do you really want to push these 5 as like the hedge against the other proposals before we have the debate and vote, or is that?
These are the 5 that people will be actively advocating for. There may be new ones that people are actively advocating for. But these are the ones that have advocates behind them.
Okay. So would you like another comparison article, or do you want me to remove the one that we do have and have put a new one up?
I think the one you have is great. I think we just could have a new one if that's possible.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll work on that.
Maybe rather than a comparison, having just comparison to be really nice, but just like something quick to read or something that just summarizes one or the 5 of them that we can sort of distribute also easily. I don't know. Just
Cool. So I think everyone is gone. Any other thoughts about this? It sounds like we push for the debates. We reach out to some people that we think are going to be interested and may have questions. We share what we can on Twitter to let people, hatchers that follow us on Twitter, at least be aware that this is the vote on the weekend. And if they want to come and read the 5 on the forum, that they can, and they're invited to. And a comparison article that Nate will work on. Awesome. Mitch, you brought up a format for the final debate on Tuesday. Do we want to delve into that now? Because this is our chance before Tuesday.
Well, I know Griff scheduled a 2-hour debate, so I mean, we could just keep doing what we've been doing in the debates, or if there's a way that we want to spice it up, or...
The only concern I have with that is that we might have more than 25 people come, since if we really promote it as like the final debate, and we should have a plan for how we want to break off maybe people who propose. Maybe we end up breaking up into 2 rooms, and the people who propose at the beginning could also propose at the end for the second room, and people who propose at the end at the beginning in the second room can propose and debate in the first room potentially. Just
yeah.
that's a great point, because then everyone hears the same thing, and it's recorded better, and yeah, I think that's a great point. We don't need to see people's faces in this call.
I'm just wondering, are we thinking we're going to get that many people on a Tuesday at 4 to 6 p.m. CET that we haven't even started promoting yet? Why do we think so many people are going to come? Okay. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think,
But it seems as if we haven't even let people know yet, have we? Really?
I think most of people won't be able to go to the other debates, and that's the further date to go. So people will be able to schedule it better than the other ones. So that's why I think more people will join.
So a part of me just, I think that the final debate could take a drastically different format if we decided to, instead of defending, like one proposal, like these kind of binary, like this is what you have to choose from, rather than just like discussing it and really educating the different implications of each module and really getting into it to the point where they just say, okay, we're just educating you about the decision space, and then it's up to you to make the decision based off of these proposals that are in front of you. I think it's much more effective than having individuals debating their params and having questions asked, which are going to take a lot of time and not as much information and education is being done. Because I do think you get sidetracked with that many people in a debate.
I have a question about this in terms of education, and I'm often pointing people to token engineering commons as a example of how to do things the proper way. I do wonder, every time I attend a Param's party, even though I will probably never feel entirely comfortable with what I'm learning there, I learned something incredibly new and useful, and so I do wonder, are we in any way capturing some of this? It's the wisdom which comes out of these things, like I don't know, do we have like, oh, if we set this thing like this, then it's going to be like that. Is that somewhere? Like yeah, I know Griff, whenever he opens his mouth, says something really smart, but the fact is, I'd sure just like to be like, getting the gist of how these parameters work in the short and medium and long term, and given that there are some people here who have a lot of param parties under their belt, I don't know if there are some basic principles we could outline and put them somewhere for the community to look at, so they have a basic understanding of this thing means this and that thing means that. Surely it's not all captured in the dashboard.
I mean, what I found useful there, I don't know if this answers your question perfectly, was like reading the rationale for each of those modules.
Sure.
And the author would explain like the implications of the choices. I don't know if that helps. And I think that's why it was really nice that we started posting these on the forum, so people could explain how their choices in each module affects the longer term outcome.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that what I might write about my thing isn't necessarily true. Do you know what I mean? It might be true for me, but it's not factual. This is my this is just my estimation about it. Like, the thing is like, I don't know, I'm not casting aspersions on you specifically, but I'm just saying that I'm going to weight, Griff's opinion over almost anyone else in terms of this. So generally speaking, whatever it is that he's going to be voting for, which is my primary interest at this point with the vote, is probably what I'm going to be going for, because he's the single most informed person in this entire space, as far as I'm concerned. And so, so the thing is, I'm just wondering factually what are real facts about this. This implication means that, and this means that, and from my experience, I don't know. I just wondered if we were getting facts out of it.
That's very humbling. I'm definitely nowhere near the number one, and I'll be ending just like everyone else. We'll have to end up voting for many of them, right? Like, because then you vote for yours until you run out of your favorite, until you run out. Where like quadratic voting is like, oh, the next vote's gonna take half of your voting power, and you're like, well, shit, maybe I give one vote to these other ones, So the voting matrix ends up saying you're going to want to vote for like 4 or 5 of these things, at least.
just to maybe, I know we're going off on a tangent here, but I don't think there's any way to really prove the things that we're saying are true, because we don't know that they're true until we have the data to back it up. So we can say like, oh, a high entry tribute will create these effects, but like, it's all an experiment at the end of the day, because there's no, like, nobody's done this. There's no cookie cutter template that we can use and like run simulations on. There's like, so we can say as much as we want about the implications, but we don't actually know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then.
Griff's probably going to get my votes too, even against mine. No, okay. So we go back to the format of the final debate. So Nate, you suggested a different format of having sort of an educational module. I'll say I actually really like hearing people present their proposal. It actually is one of the ways that I learned the most, more than just trying to use the tool myself. Hearing and watching people describe and share how they've arrived at the conclusions was the most educational part for me.
I guess my question is how many people are actually going to be presenting their proposals and which ones are going to be presented? We got a 2-hour time slot to fill, and so if we were to use maybe 30 to 45 minutes on straight, just like, two stewards take a module each, and they just basically have a conversation about potential implications, the ideas behind it, what drives it, things that they've seen, their observations. I think could be hugely beneficial before we get into the debates of the actual proposals that can inform voters on what they're looking at, what they're seeing, what they're trying to propose and what they're defending. So I just think that especially if we get a bunch of new people who haven't been to the proposals debates before or submitted their own proposal or coming in kind of fresh, I think it's really important for them to get that information.
Nate just gave me a really good idea with the educational sessions, and so I think if we take a page out of American politics, we can see how we can sensationalize this a little bit. And I think there's they're always interesting, even if you're not American. And like, there's a facilitator, and they like present questions, and then each like proposer has to respond to them and like make their case. And like, I think that's a really, really fun way to like see people's take on like particular topics as they relate to their configuration.
Yeah, I kind of like that more than just having, random questions from the audience. Although I do like that, I just think that we get kind of sidetracked, and from a lot of the debates that I've seen, we've had a lot of questions that are kind of out of left field that take up 15 minutes of time, and a lot of people don't get much out of it. So having that kind of like controlled facilitation, like you said, I like that, Mitch.
It does something else that's really cool, which is compares them across each other, like one by one, versus you hear everything about one proposal and then you hear everything about the next and then the next, and you're kind of like, wait, what was this one again? I feel like there is something really interesting about talking about one module and then having 5 people respond about that one module.
I mean, I could definitely host, and I bet Lauren would be down to take the one that I want to promote. She didn't end up submitting one, so. And then also, it wouldn't be. I feel like already in this call, it sounds like my opinion is going to be overweighted, and I like all of these proposals for different reasons. So it's not really fair. And for the proposals, I don't think we'd get a good democratic process, honestly. If everyone's like, oh, well, Griff's running the Params working group, he's been thinking about this shit for long, blah blah blah, I'll just do whatever Griff says I vote for. Fuck that. I'm happy to facilitate as the question person. Like, hey, what do you think about vesting lengths? Boom, boom, boom. We pass that around. Okay, conviction growth. Give us the dirty, and we pass it around. And we challenge, different people represent different proposals. and say why they think their strategy is the best. I could host that. I think it'd be fun. I would make it fun, that's for sure.
Can I ask a question about this? Is it possible just to come up with a mean? That is to say, something that is like the average of all of these things, where we can know, in terms of like wisdom of crowds or whatever, like something in between. So then that's like a baseline for where we are in terms of, and then we can show how that might deviate from one thing or another. It might be an interesting sense-making apparatus, or give us a keel to navigate through the final debates here. I don't know, just an idea.
I think that it's not as. I think it's more nuanced than averaging. Unfortunately, I think that will be easy to do over Christmas for the runoff. But man, it's like kind of like, well, look at this cake recipe and look at that cake recipe. Well, look at all these cake recipes. Well, what's the average ingredients? Okay. Well, this is what it takes to make a delicious cake. It's like that cake's gonna taste like shit. So like you want, different people are adding more eggs because they're trying to make it squishy, and it's a tres leches, but this one is more of a dense fudge, and so it doesn't have the eggs, it's like and so like different, it's more like we would want to put each module kind of in its own spectrum, and I just think it's too much nuance for us to pull off in the last 5 days. I don't even think we understand it yet until we go through these last debates. But we could try. I mean, Nate and I are going to go through some stuff after the community call, and we could try to look at different sets of proposals and what they did with each module, and kind of like maybe make a spectrum. But man, it's going to be a lot of work. What I should say is if we don't put a lot of work into it, we could actually put out bad information.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. Do we need to confirm now who will take part, or we'll see who's able to present on Tuesday, or to defend, or to advocate, to champion on Tuesday?
I think you should put out a call in the Discord, because there might be some more people like Gideon or Nuggian who would want to confirm.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Just to invite more people. I think Gideon will probably want to present his, and Nuggian would be great too. Okay, that's fun. That ended up with some really nice output, guys. I feel like we should each get a podium where we're standing, and a bottle of water, and a notepad, and a little American flag look pin. All right, cool. So we're going to move off the topic of the debates then, unless there's anything else anyone wants to add. Okay. Then maybe can we have a check-in on the working group funding proposals? Are there any blockers, any issues, any questions you want to ask to the rest of the stewards? I'm going to pass around. I'll pass to you, Chewy, first. You had some questions which we talked about in the last one. Maybe give you some more time to see if there's anything else you want to ask.
Not really. It was just something that was kind of blocking me, because after we pushed some of the dates, I didn't really know how to approach the contributors or how to talk about this delicate issue. But since I brought it up and everyone was and everyone pretty much agreed, I feel more comfortable, and I also feel that they are a little bit more confident in saying okay, so this is how I'm gonna be like compensated for the work that I've been doing, and this is what I'm gonna start doing on January after the Commons upgrade. So that was pretty much the only thing that I felt wasn't clear enough in the funding proposal. So now it should be I think it should be easier after we have the first theme syncs to close this proposal and start having a more formal discussion around it. But yeah, that was pretty much my only blocker.
Are there other working groups that are thinking about a sort of bonus for retroactive efforts in their working group? Maybe let me check with Eduardo, because we haven't talked about this yet. But what do you think?
In my case, I will think on if Gene keeps helping with welcoming and so on, I will think on him as retroactive. Yeah, and probably MS. If he keeps also working on those two people, I will consider them for retroactive funding.
I've been donating on Giveth as well to fund a lot of salaries, and so I will probably eventually get around to asking for some of that money to be paid back. Probably all of it because it's very well accounted for. But it's not gonna be my highest priority, and I'll just put the proposals up there and not really ask that they be voted on. That's kind of my thought on it. And if they pass, it passes. If not, it's fine.
Okay. I guess then the question is that something to take into consideration for the people that are going to have, well, that would be, I mean, the people that Eduardo just mentioned aren't receiving any compensation from Giveth.
If they would like, if they're getting more than, if they're doing more than 1,000, if you're going to ask for more than $1,000 worth of retroactive funding, I would say just throw it in the Giveth thing, and it doesn't have to be retroactive. We can just pay them, because if they're doing good work, they're doing good work, and it shouldn't have to be a Dow vote. And I totally trust you, Chewy and Eduardo. Like, if you think that they're doing, the standard pay rate is like, if they're from Western cultures, $19 an hour is where it tops off at. If they're in a place where $19 an hour, that's just a really good wage. I would ask for some reasonable consideration of that, just for to make things a little more fair across hey, when I did this work for the TEC, I was able to buy a lunch, and when I did this work for the TEC, I was able to buy a car. It's like, okay, that's not really fair. So just having a little bit of recognition of different what money buys you in your locality. But yeah, I trust whatever makes sense.
Cool.
I had one concern, and this is an idea that Griff gave me on Monday, and for Gravity, and is to have a treasurer and someone who can be responsible of making the distribution of the bounties. But maybe it would be also good to have some technical guidance, because on the way to make the disbursements, because to avoid gas and all that, to use the best way the CK sync and all that, to just have a guidance maybe to all the working groups, so that we can have the least amount of transaction going in gas.
I would say keep as much money on XDAI as you can and avoid the topic. Gas sucks.
Thanks for sharing that, Wonka. Were you thinking of having someone who is there's some interest in maybe sharing this piece of work, this treasury role, across more than one working group, since it's something that many working groups may want to unburden themselves with.
Yeah, we the thing is that at least for gravity, as we are designing like a lot of bounties, like the treasury would vary a lot between the months, and that would be really helpful. And we are trying to shape this responsibility in one of the roles that we are designing. But yeah, I also think that it can be good for other working groups, although I think that the ones that have like more regular payments and less bounties would need this less.
Cool. Anything else you want to share about gravity, or we pass this up to Miss for transparency?
Yeah, I think that we will be finishing the proposal until next Tuesday. And I think that after next Tuesday, or maybe next week, we will be uploading the proposal on the forum. Yeah, we want it to be there for the start of the year. And yeah, I think that's our minimum viable proposal, and then we will start building from on top of it.
Cool. And how is transparency doing, Zep? Any blockers or issues or things you want to share?
I will say Fabio is probably just like some insight that Fabio is doing his last week of balancer full time, and then he's off for 2 weeks for Christmas. So he's probably, and he's not the most like DM like friendly person. So he's probably just waiting until next week. And I'm sure he'll be able to make the time because his full-time job just stops. So I bet you'll be able to coordinate with him easily next week.
I also think probably we could just do an estimation of what it would be if it was Fabio or anyone else who sets up Dune Analytics, and just have that budget set aside for that piece of work. Okay, cool. Well, that's it for our agenda. We still have 2 minutes before our community call happens right now. So any last things anyone wants to share before we hop off this call?
Community call is in 1 hour, and I will be hosting a debate.
And
Yeah.
you're hosting a debate. Oh, now?
Yeah.
Nice. I have a call.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone.